He's like, Mommy, Dad, how did Dad die? He was watching Jimmy Kimmel.
Fucking Angry Birds. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to the Bad Take Delete show. It's not a podcast anymore. It's a show.
What happened?
It's a show.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fuck it. Look, at this point, we're like moving our eyes, we're moving our hands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a show.
We're doing
not
more
a
visual
podcast.
stuff.
It's visual. It's your eyes are looking at me. You're looking at my eyes. I can see into your soul. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, welcome back to the Bad Take Delete show.
We make so many references to people driving and watching our screen and crashing. That's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be watching this while you're driving because it's a show now.
Are we allowed to say that? Did they say that like until the courts? Like, are we allowed? Let's just leave it.
Well, it's not like people don't watch Jimmy Kimmel while driving on the highway. You know,
that would be the worst way to go. If the last thing I heard before I went down was like Jimmy Kimmel saying like Donald Trump is in the news today, and then just fucking hit the water and explode, I would be so pissed off.
He's like, Mommy, Dad, how did Dad die? He was watching Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay, fine. So today's episode was, I think primarily we said we were going to talk about Fionna
and Cake,
right?
the HBO series, not Max.
No.
I made sure not to say Max this time. HBO series.
It's an HBO show. It's not like Max.
With Max? Fuck it. I messed up the thing. We're not supposed to say HBO Max, but we're supposed to say Max instead. No, it's a Max show. Actually, I was watching an HBO show. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's a good show.
Never seen it before.
That's quality. Really?
At all.
How did you
Ever.
like the first few episodes?
It was very... I was looking it up and I was like, this is HBO. Why does the camera quality look like shit? They filmed it on mini DV tape. So imagine like a VHS tape, but like way smaller. And because of how improvisational? How do you say that word? Improvisational?
Improvisational, yeah.
Because of how experimental and improvisational it was, they just filmed the first season like shit. Because they're like, you made Seinfeld, Larry David, but we'll see what you can do.
But let's talk about fucking something more important than Larry
what's that?
David.
What's more important than Larry David?
Fionna and Cake show.
The show. Now,
Yeah.
did you grow up on Adventure Time?
I did, actually. I remember when it first came out in fucking regular show. I remember when it was like a Nicktoon thing.
It was like a pitch pilot or something.
Yeah, so Nickelodeon used to have a thing called, it was like 1-2 cartoons or something like that. And what you would do is you'd submit a cartoon and they would show like a clip of it. And some shows got picked up that way. I think, I can't remember what show got picked up from that. But I do know that that show was passed and Cartoon Network actually took them up on that. And obviously, SpongeBob and Co. were fucking punching themselves in the face after losing billions of dollars on Adventure Time.
Well, they would have hired different writers. They would have made a different tonal thing. It would have been a completely different show.
Definitely, yeah. I think I've been rewatching the show just like between episodes of the Fionna and Cake stuff.
Yeah.
Just to refresh, because I never really watched the later seasons. I kind of fell off after, ironically, around the same time that Pendleton stopped coming on to the show.
I thought he came back. Like he left for a bit and he came back.
Well, he came back as a storyboard artist and he still did some voices, but he was no longer the showrunner. And when the hands were when the it was the torch was passed, that's when it started becoming like more serialized and story based. I watched the older stuff, and then coming back to the newer stuff, I realized I missed like a treasure trove of shit, because it's a good show. It's like something you can watch at any age.
Well, think of it from Pendleton's perspective. Like he's like, oh, this is gonna get like, I don't know, 2 or 3 seasons, 10 seasons. And he's like, oh, I need to like get away from this for a bit.
Yeah, he fucking from what it looked like was like the show's whole premise was just like random fuck it.
Yeah.
There's always just something completely different happening every time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only do that for so long before you start running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Of where to go with it. So, I commend him for as far as he went. Okay,
but
we lost
before Fionna and Cake, there was Max's, I said it this time, Max's Distant Lands, which is like a limited TV series, about Adventure Time. Way more adult. Yeah. I'll tell you
Definitely.
that. You want to get into that first?
Yeah, we can talk about that for a second. It was just a bunch I haven't seen all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen snippets of a few of them. The one I have seen from beginning to end, though, was whatever that last one was with Finn and Jake and Hal.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one. Together Again. That wasn't the last one.
Again.
That was the third one.
Yeah, that wasn't the last one, but it's the end of the fucking universe, like the timeline. And that was probably the best. I mean, that was like...
right in the childhood.
You should definitely see the one about BMO. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but it's a prequel.
I'll definitely have to check it out. All those aside, let's finally talk about the main event. Fionna and Cake, guys.
Fionna and Cake.
Fionna and Cake, and I watched this out of just pure curiosity.
Yeah.
I really had no interest in it before, like, going in.
Mm-hmm.
And I the way you've been with Superman,
Yeah.
was how I was with this. Every time it uploaded, I was watching it the hour of.
The hour.
If I forgot.
2 a.m.
The hour of 2 fucking a.m.
Oh my
I watched
God.
that shit. Not because I was staying up for Fionna and Cake, just because I'm a mother. You
just usually up at 2
horrible
a.m.
sleep schedule. Yeah. Whoa.
Oh my God, that was the 2 a.m. burps.
What was that? Jeez Louise, guys.
Ooh.
Who wants set burped? You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
That?
Was
oh my
it the
God. Anyways,
the purple kryptonite?
They are probably so embarrassed. We should just forget that happened. Anyways, and whoever did that's okay. Anyway, pretty good burp.
Yeah.
Anyways, Fionna and Cake was the show's. What should we talk about? The plot first.
We're gonna spoil a lot of shit. So I thought this is just gonna be like a fun little romp when like, haha, some adventures of Fionna and Cake. Nope, all canon, hard story. Fiona's in her 30s, right? We start off with her in like a shitty city, or like going like, I don't really feel like myself today, and she's watching Cheers a lot, which we'll get into that as that's a major theme within it, right? But it's basically just like everyone's feeling a bit down. This is after Jake passed away. Finn's still alive. He's like a big old gruff 30s, 40s kind of old man. And Simon Petrikov is also feeling down about himself. I'll let you take it from here.
As everyone and their mother knows, Simon was the Ice King.
He was?
Yeah, he got his.
I watched the whole show. Did not know that.
His head got all fucked up and rewired and shit. Dude, I remember when they had the special.
Mm-hmm.
When they announced, like, they had a whole fucking, like everyone was getting ready for this episode.
Yeah.
The Marceline one where he, like, explores his past. And, like, you realize, like, that was the first time the story got kind of, like, serious.
Yeah.
And it hits you with, like, a sledgehammer. It's like, oh, this whole time he's just been, like, trapped in his own mind. Lol.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun. Banana sandwiches, haha. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to have a breakdown now, 12 years old. But now we finally get to see what happened because at the end of the show, spoiler!
Whoa!
Spoiler!
Oh my God! A spoiler!
At the end of the show, Simon comes back to the front of his brain. He's like, oh, good. Because his girlfriend from the past, comes in and helps him out. But the only way that she was able to do that was by merging with the fucking Antichrist.
Yeah.
The
Golb.
Right?
Yeah,
Golb.
Betty merges a Golb.
This big red cocksucker who's on the screen right now.
Yeah.
And
oh my
they
God.
merge, and then she disappears, and he's like, okay. And the show ends, and you're like, okay. And now, 10 years later, they're back, and you're like, okay. And now Simon is going through it. He's like, I'm depressed. And Finn's like, okay. And now Finn's trying to help him out, but Simon's like...
Well, Finn's also depressed, but he doesn't want to process his own feelings. That's why he's always going on adventures.
Yeah, I like that. Finn is just like this big... He doesn't know how to handle. He doesn't have the emotional maturity that Jake did.
Yeah.
It's clear he's missing that second half of himself.
That's why he's hanging out with Jake's grandson, Jake's son, one of those things.
Yeah, he's just like reliving the glory days. It's kind of sad, but it's cool seeing him. But the whole point of him showing up is to show that like Simon is kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Because he has no one to relate to really.
Because they're in the future. Remember?
Yeah, this is well after the show ends.
No, I meant like they're in the future. This isn't like another world kind of thing. Like this is Earth in the future kind of thing.
Yeah, this is when the show ended. This is that same show, just a few years, like a long time later.
No, I meant the Earth. Because people might not know what Adventure Time is. Because originally people thought Adventure Time was just like a fantasy world, and then there was hints that this was Earth, and they finally said it was Earth.
Yeah, this is Earth. This is like what's left after a whole bunch of shit. We gotta move the pace though. We're way back here. So let's. So
Simon lives in a 20th century home where it's like, oh, this is how people lived, and he's trying to summon his wife. He's trying to summon her and say, I want to see you again, and accidentally summons Cake, and then later Fionna that was in his head the whole time.
Because as the show, Fionna and Cake had made appearances in the show a few times, but they were just more like secondary characters, and their whole existence was fan fiction that the Ice King was writing. So
and the character was created by Natasha Allegri. You may know her from Bee and Puppycat.
Whoa.
Yeah, she won. Good stuff. Fun fact. And so they're trying to get him to like put on the crown and bring the magic back to the world, but at the same time they go back to Prismo.
Oh wait, well we should explain.
Oh, okay.
The whole reason that Fionna and Cake are kind of fucking like lame and just like Cake's just straight up a normal cat.
Yeah.
Fionna works like a boring ass job and the city's all normal. Is because Simon's head was all fuck up and crazy, so the world they lived in was all fucked up and crazy. But now that Simon's back to like
The normal self.
sanity and normalcy, his world goes back to sanity and normalcy. So all the fun gets drained out. So when Fionna and Cake go to this world and see what was supposed to be, what they used to have, they want it back. And the only way they can do that is if Simon puts the helmet back on at the crown and goes fucking nutso. And Simon's like, I've got nothing to live for. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah. And so they meet this red scarab guy who's trying to kill them because, as we find out, Fionna and Cake is what's the best way to put it? It's an unauthorized wish. So Prismo, the Wishmaker, is like this shadow entity in a cube, and he grants people wishes. And one day he said, I want to have my own wish. And so if you remember back in Adventure Time, there's like this red beam that goes into the Ice King's head, and they never explain it. That was Prismo hiding that world in his brain. Cool canon, wouldn't you say?
Cool, pretty pretty sweet.
And Prismo's appearance is the first sign of me, with the one gripe I have, one of the few gripes I have with the show, is that they couldn't get some of the voice actors back. With him, Prismo, I get it, because who voiced Prismo?
I looked it up, and they forgot to ask the actor.
They just forgot to ask?
They just forgot to ask him, because he was like, I would have done this shit, why didn't you ask me? And then another voice actor was like, oh, my management said I was busy, but they weren't busy. So it's like, oh my god.
Okay, well, that's a big thing, I guess. A lot of the actors that were in this have gone on to have bigger things.
Yeah.
And so they were either not available or just straight up apparently not fucking asked, which, okay, cool. That's fucking great.
Yeah, it's great.
But the voice actors that do fill in the roles do a fine job. It's all right. But
as they escape the scarab, right?
Yeah.
They traveled through many different worlds, like a lot of them. And there's a lot of consistency. There's always a Marceline, there's always a Bubblegum, and there's always a Simon Petrikov somewhere. And if you look, and Jake. My favorite one was like the very old dog Jake. It was like a dog in his 30s or something in like post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, in Farm World, which is also a fan favorite. We get to see again. We get to see not only grown up main story Finn, but Farm World Finn, who, if you guys don't remember, that's when Prismo first appeared and they sent him to the fucking straight up just normal ass world, and Finn turns into the Ice King and he's like, I'm the Ice King! Ah! And he kills everyone.
There is actually a world in which the Lich does actually kill everyone, and the only person alive is BMO.
Did you realize how that connects to the main show?
No. So, you should tell me.
Have you watched Adventure Time?
Not really. I didn't have cable growing up.
Oh, good. There's this one episode where this is when Prismo's actually introduced, and they get there because the Lich tricks them into getting them there. So the Lich wishes for all life on U to be eliminated, and then he gets teleported to this alternate world, right? Like the wish, like the Farm World. It's his own world where everyone dies, right?
Yeah.
In the same episode that we go to that world, we see a VHS recording of the Ice King doing this little thing.
Yeah.
And at the split second, you notice he turns into a fucking skeleton. That's because this is that world. This is that world from that episode. This is where the original Lich went to.
I do find it funny that BMO is like alive and keeps referring to the Lich as Jerry and just talks to them all day.
I love that, yeah. BMO is just like a constant. He doesn't give a fuck. Or she. I don't. They.
It doesn't matter what you call them. BMO has addressed it before. It's like, oh, you can call me whatever you want. I'm a friend for all.
That is spot on, BMO, dude. It is so good.
Very good. I wasn't even doing I wasn't even trying to do an impression.
So after we see all these worlds of BMO, fucking worlds of like the vampire world, the
in the vampire world, you may have noticed that. Okay, in the original story of Marceline and Simon and everything, Simon finds Marceline and protects her, and says, I'm going to raise you, I'm going to make you a good person. And the vampire world, you see him dead, which is a world in which he could not help her. You actually see this a couple of times in which X happens or Y happens. Like in the ice world, or the ice, like the idealized Ice King world, Marceline's dead, and he makes an ice Marceline because he killed her somehow. Very cool foreshadowing.
Very cool. Oh, let's talk about that. That's even before. We get to see a world where the Ice King has pretty much everything he wants, and we see that he only does it by transferring his insanity over to the princess, right?
Yes.
And I like that episode because it's pretty much telling Simon that the only reason he's not happy is because he's selfless,
Yeah.
Because he's made decisions not just direct. It shows him what happens if you just make decisions for your own good, which is very relevant for where the story goes.
I do find it funny because it's like, you could transfer it to anyone. How did you transfer it to like an ant or like a bug? Why does it have to be like a person?
I wouldn't want to deal with an ant like that. If I saw an ant, if I'm like crushing ants and then one ant starts like laughing evilly at me, I'm gonna be fucking freaked out.
Yeah, because a whole huge thing about the story is you can't change the past, no matter how many wishes you do or whatever, and that he should not put on the crown That's like a big thing. Do not put on the fucking crown, Simon.
Yeah.
It's not good. They don't explain it. How is Simon still alive as a human? Because he's been alive for thousands of years as the Ice King, but now he's just a regular human. Is he just like normal human age now? Or does he live forever?
So I don't know for sure, but I think he might be immortal because I think the wish that Betty makes that merges her with Gulb is to make Simon safe forever, or like keep Simon safe, which could mean he's just gonna like outlive everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it doesn't really fucking matter. I mean, there's so many. If we were to ask questions about everything, we would be here all day.
And so later on, right? Well, not later on. Throughout the show, we get to see Fiona's versions of Marceline, which is Marshall, and PB. Right? He owns a bake shop and everything. And I was like, this is nice. This is cool because I'll tell you this thing. There was this promotional video series by Cartoon Network is by Frederator called Mathematical, right? You know, promoting Adventure Time and everything. And the first time that Marceline and Bubblegum were like together, it wasn't announced that they were gay yet. The series Mathematical were like, ooh, are they together? The series got canceled after they said that. Because this is Cartoon Network in 2010s.
Of course, yeah. And now, well, you know, now it's just like, they're so proud of it. Now it's always been like, of course.
It's like, obviously.
Why would you ask? We're cool.
Yeah.
We're hip.
It's the 2020s now.
Yeah. Now it's safe. Now it's safe for our investors. But now we, which by the way, before we begin, shout out to Donald Glover for showing up for that.
Shout out.
He was one of the few voice actors that did come back for that role. That wasn't a mainstay to begin with. So that was awesome. I mean, I couldn't think of anyone else doing it, so I'm very glad he did.
Yeah. So near the end, Fionna and Cake return to the universe because they go back into his head, right, and everything. And they have a nightmare, sharing a magical nightmare, about what would happen if he puts the crown back on. Because when he put the crown on, that was already an established world, right, that Prismo beamed into his mind. So there wouldn't really be a guarantee that what they did, or if he would do something right now, would be the same. And so it becomes a conflict. It's like, oh no, if he puts in the crown, is this going to kill us? Is this going to affect us? Is this going to change us? You want to get into that?
Yeah, so, hold on. I might have lost track here for a second. So they go back to the world.
So we're at the very end. We skipped a lot because we don't want to spoil everything. They go back into his head, right? And they're telling PB and Marshall, like, hey, the world's about to get a lot more magical. It's very cool. But then they're asking questions like, are we still going to be here? Am I still going to have Marshall? And she's like, I don't know. And this is at the time when the scarab is still attacking them, split up into multiple scarabs. Because his job is, we never established this, his job is like a multiverse catcher, where he destroys multiverse breaking creatures. And he sees Fionna and Cake's world as an abomination. That's where we're at.
Got it. So, a big thing that's going on right now, the reason that nothing is going back exactly as it is because the Ice King hadn't put on the helmet, the crown yet. Because finally, Gald Eddie fucking summons him back to their world. Which, by the way, we see one of the coolest fucking scenes. It's that lich who comes up to them. He's like, I killed every motherfucker on my planet. I am a student of yours. What the fuck am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
And Golb's just like, guess what, bitch? Lego brick. And he becomes a fucking Lego brick. He goes, ah!
Yeah,
Lego
his skin peels off, his bones crush, and he turns into like a Tetris block. And I'm like, oh my god.
I have theory. People are saying that like all those blocks are like other disciples of Golb, and obviously, yeah. But I have a theory that those are all the Lich, because as we know, the Lich is a constant.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the first Lich to succeed in a multiverse or whatever. So I feel like all those blocks are like specifically the Lich in different instances, which is so fucking cool to think. Not cool, but insane to think that his destiny in every conceivable universe is always to end up as like nothing, return back to nothing.
Yeah, because it's not just the Earth that would have life eliminated; it would be everything, every planet, every molecule, like every living creature, even bacteria, dead. Gone. Wow. And so now we're at the very end of the Sculb area. And while Fionna and Cake are having their adventure, attacking him and everything, Simon is having his own adventure. If you remember at the end of the Adventure Time, we see like this new iteration of Finn and Jake. We actually get to see from their point of view, like their world, how they're doing everything. And Simon gets teleported into the brain of that Finn, like that world's Finn. And you may actually recognize the voice actor. Do you know who it is?
No. Who is it?
I don't remember the name. They're in Sore Opposites as one of the main characters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the kid, right?
Yeah, the kid.
No, I don't watch too much of that.
I've seen it. I just
forget
forget the name.
Voice now. Yeah, that was cool. And I like their dynamic. I think a lot of the last few episodes are just building potential like breadcrumbs if they ever want to go back to these worlds and make shows, which is, you know, both I get it, but also a little distracting, but it works.
There's a lot unanswered, like a shit ton. And it's only 10 episodes, but in this universe, Simon plays a video game where it's like a book with a gun. It's like fire once for no, fire two for yes kind of thing. Very funny, very creative stuff. And he chooses all of Casper's decisions, dooming Nova, killing her. And he's like, I thought we were on the same goal. Can't I go back? Can I change these things? And the creatures, you know, his friend is like, no, you can't. You should have listened to her. Why didn't you listen to her?
Before we go into where this leads, the breadcrumbs for this have been planted throughout the show, where there will be moments where Simon is looking back on his history with Betty about how she sacrificed so much to help him with his adventures, how she dropped trips to go with him, how she dropped everything in her life to be with this guy and to explore with him. And what the fuck did I tell you? What the fuck did I tell you before the last episode came out?
I don't remember. But we'll play a flashback.
No, it wasn't in the last episode. I told you in private.
Oh, yeah.
I told you this in private.
This was after we recorded, and then you told me this thing, and I was like, but you should tell me the thing again.
I said that where the show was headed was that Betty was going to Betty, for the first time in her life, is going to tell the guy that he's been making all the shots and all the decisions, and he's got to realize that he's got to let her do her own thing. And just accept it and break it off, that the relationship wasn't right. And I fucking nailed that shit mostly.
You were right on that.
Not entirely, but I got it kind of.
Well, the ending scene of Golb is her on a bus leaving, which means that maybe she's not going to be the entity anymore. Maybe she's moving on to something else. Because she finally saw that after Simon throws away the crown, he is finally safe. He's not going to do anything dangerous. She got her wish. So she has finally moved on. So you're right. It did work.
I love that. I really like that a lot because it's described in a scene where it's like like you said, the flashback to when they first started the relationship, when she gave up on her trip to just give it up and join him.
Yeah.
And he rewrote it so that he would go on the bus with her. But as she makes the point, as he says, this didn't happen. And she's like, it's right, but it's a nice idea. Because in this show, there's no going back and fixing it. There's no... You know, she changes back to human and leaves. It's like, it fucking happened. There's no fixing it.
And that's even with the Wish worlds. Like, the Lich didn't do anything. Like, Prismo just made a place in which it happened. So it's like, he didn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah, so like, there's nothing that he could have done to revert back to that except just to go forward. Which is like, and it really does. I really like that message in the show. And it came off very natural. And... me being able to determine where it was headed is always a good sign. I remember, I think it was J.R.R. Tolkien or whatever his name is. Not J.R.R. Tolkien. What's his fucking name? Who made
George R.R. Martin?
Yes. Who said...
The two letters.
Yeah. That a twist is only good. Like, if someone can tell a twist is coming, that's not a bad thing. You don't change it. Because that means that, you know, you're telling the story correctly. That the twist works. The ending works.
It just makes sense.
Exactly. So... it's not a twist ending, but it's an ending. But yeah, so that was Fionna and Cake, and I don't know about you, but I love the show.
Limited series. They advertise it as a limited series.
Fuck you, Daft.
Yeah, no, 10 episodes, which is standard for most TV shows now on streaming. Very good quality. Oh
Daft, yeah. If you correct me like that again, this is gonna be BadTakeDelete, the limited series. I promise you.
Oh yeah, a theme throughout the show, and not a theme. A recurring theme throughout the show is the only song that Fionna knows is the Cheers theme song, and the only show that they watch in that world is Cheers.
Because that was their song, which is.
No, I'm guessing that Simon just really liked watching Cheers.
No, he explains it. He says it was Betty's
song.
Him and Betty's song. Yeah, it was their song.
I missed that. I must have missed that. I thought he just really liked the show.
I kind of want to live in that world that you're living in right now. That was the answer. I would love it. It's just like, I just liked it, you know?
Just like imagine if it was Seinfeld or like the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme.
Imagine it was fucking It's Always Sunny. Fiona's Cake would be really weird.
And so the show ends with Fiona's world becoming an authorized world. Like an authorized world that can exist, that shouldn't be dead. And a bunch of the leftover characters from the previous worlds they were in show up in this one. And it's like, I guess we just have a tank now. I guess Cake is all magical. We'll figure this out later.
Baby Finn.
Baby Finn.
So now there's 2 Finns in this world. That's that's
fun.
happening. That's reality.
And in the post-apocalyptic world, the couple, the star-crossed lovers from 2 different factions.
And isn't that crazy that they're probably taking care of the baby version of his own dad?
The one thing I really liked about that was like the dystopian people saying, "I'm glad we have plumbing now."
Yeah, that's
functional plumbing. That's what they don't tell you about dystopian futures. No water pipes. Not usually. Have you seen Mad Max? Did they have water pipes?
I have. They had one.
They had one.
They had one, and they fought over it.
Yeah, I always like that scene.
Was for Mad Max 5, the one water pipe.
Isn't all of Mad Max one guy, or is it 2 guys? Are there many guys named Max?
He can shadow clone by the 3rd movie.
But we gotta talk about
what?
We gotta talk about questions and people who said stuff about the show. Because we asked people, "What'd you think about the show?"
Great. Let's see what's going on. Let me pull up a question here.
Okay, go on.
So we asked, like you said, what did you think about the show? Someone made a point that I didn't even think about. The show felt. This is Mr. Smith.
Oh.
3841. You couldn't help yourself.
Couldn't help yourself.
Show felt like a Rebecca Sugar fan fiction of Adventure Time. Still somewhat works though. Feels fitting. Wasn't Rebecca Sugar a storyboard artist on the Adventure Time?
Yes, and she also did some music for it too. A lot of music.
The ending song was written by her.
Yeah.
She's had her fingers in the show for a while. I will say, I don't know how involved she was in the writing of this movie or show. Limited series. Yeah. Limited series. But I would say, I guess I did get the feeling now, in retrospect, that there was a lot of her, like, I guess her work is in it. It does feel like a Rebecca Sugar thing.
Yeah.
Especially, like, when they're in the city.
Rebecca Sugar actually came back, and she's releasing an album.
Great.
It sounds pretty cool. It's coming out very soon.
Yeah, I didn't realize that she's been gone until she came back.
Listen, you do Steven Universe, you see all the fucking culture war shit she had to deal with. She took a break.
Lord.
She took a fucking break.
She took a fucking break.
She's like, I need 5 years to myself. It wasn't 5 years. 3 years. Yeah, it was about like 3 years. It was like, I want time away from making a fucking TV show. Because
she became like a monk and everything, shaved her head.
Yeah, her show broke so many boundaries that she had to like calm down a bit before she broke some new ones. She's like, guys, let me just sit down for a second.
Oh my god.
No, she did. She had to like fight for the wedding scene of what was it? Whatever Garnet's fusions are. She had to fight for that.
And the blue one?
Sapphire and
that.
The red one. Yeah, she had to fight for that wedding. And it was cut from most international broadcasts.
Nice.
Yeah. Next question.
Awesome.
Azuk. I skipped the Fionna and Cake episodes of the original series. I'm always interested in multiverse stuff. Why'd you skip the original episodes though? Okay. So I went in with high hopes and did not expect the grown-up tone of the show. I loved it a lot. Maybe I'll go watch the Fionna and Cake episodes later. I mean, it's a different vibe because in Adventure Time they're like kids, I guess, but in this show she's 30. It's like very different vibe.
But I would definitely suggest going back just because if you liked the characters, you get to see a little bit more of them.
Yeah.
They're not too different, minus the setting being fucking bonkers wild and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth going back.
Still Withstanding. That's a great username because there's no numbers.
No numbers. I like that. Just straight to the point.
It was great. I like how they showed the Lich in his wish world. That was great.
See, told you.
People love that. Wouldn't you agree?
I did. Yeah, that was epic sauce. I loved when everyone died.
And then we got some regular questions, right? Just regular stuff based on the last episode.
Regular old questions.
Hashtag BadTakeDelete. 28 minutes in. Green Lantern. They made a joke where it's like the unlocked character, and they said the joke was Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that Green Lantern. He's amazing. So I guess you love them.
But why is he the unlockable?
Is he unlockable? He didn't explain the joke.
You didn't elaborate on that. I would like to know what you meant by that, buddy.
Sam Demonic. I sadly never got to watch the original Justice League. It's on Max. Let's go watch it right now.
Yeah.
And mostly watch Justice League Unlimited. So
that's fair.
Let's see. So there was things I didn't get because I liked content. But my favorite would be when Lex Luthor fused with Brainiac. Doesn't it happen a lot in the comics?
That happened maybe once, I think. I don't even know if it did. If it did, I don't remember it. But
I thought that was in Justice League, the original.
Wasn't No, I think that is unlimited.
Because Brainiac was attacking Darkseid's planet, and then Brainiac fused with... Did Brainiac fuse a Darkseid? Did he fuse a Lex Luthor?
He fuses with Lex Luthor, and the Flash takes him out by fucking running around the world and punching his face in over and over again. And then he almost phases out, but friendship pulls him back in.
I always like that when friendship saves everyone.
Friendship, yeah.
That's cool. But, you know, we gotta talk about right now.
What?
You got, like, a Game Boy? You wanna talk about
Yes.
that? Did I mention that?
All right, yeah. Before we end the episode, I want to talk about this. So I've been, I'm a fiend for fucking video game collecting, and I can't help it.
A ghoul.
Specifically Pokemon.
A goblin.
Lately. Yeah, I'm a goblin for that shit. But I've been playing on a Game Boy Color that comes with a backlight.
Oh my god.
Which, for those of you who don't know,
Yeah, what does that
who
mean?
For those of you who didn't have to struggle with it, imagine playing a DS or a Switch or something, and the only way you can see the fucking screen is if you have a light directly going down on it. Like, if you're in a room with no direct source of light, you're fucked. You can't see shit.
Did you ever have the worm light or whatever it was called, where you plug it in that charging slot? I had one of those.
I didn't have that.
It was stupid.
Actually, my first Game Boy was the Advance SP.
Oh, phew.
Which came with one. It had one, so I didn't have to worry about it. But going backwards, that's when I realized I was fucked.
Yeah. And
it's difficult to say. Like, you can play them. I ended up playing it on the TV with, like, this fucking thing that you can connect a Game Boy Color to. And that was fine. But if you try playing it anywhere else, you're going to have to deal with, like, the Game Boy small screen or X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I got one with a backlight. And this bad boy, like, I showed it to Daft, and the first thing he said was it looked photoshopped.
Yeah, it looks too... we'll show up the same picture on screen. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That's real.
It's pristine, dude. It's fucking crisp as fuck. And when I sent him that, what did you send me back?
So I sent you an Evercart, and this is like a little Game Boy cartridge with a micro SD card slot to play any ROM that you legally own, nothing else, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by them or anything, but I bought one like while we were recording this, and I'm gonna be excited to tell you all the goofy shit I'm doing on there. Of course, every ROM that I put on there, I own legally because
he ROM dumped it.
That is the law.
That's the law.
That is the law. Let me just check right now. That's the law.
That's the law. We just double checked.
Checking again.
Checking?
Still the law.
Yeah. Yeah, no, any cartridge or CD you own, you can ROM dump it and save it because it's an archive copy.
Yeah.
That's what it means, because old cartridges fucking die easily. Like, you have a Game Boy cartridge of Pokemon. Did you replace the battery?
I had to, you have to get a new battery or else the game just doesn't turn on or you can't save it. There is a lot of work that has to go behind refurbishing one of these. And if you have a Game Boy from when you were a kid, there's a good chance you plug it in, it's not going to save. Or the clock's not going to work or some shit.
Also, in stuff like N64s. A lot of old game consoles have them.
A lot of Nintendo shit. The one benefit that Xbox and PlayStation had was that the disc format was probably the safest in regards to longevity. But
yeah, there's no batteries on CDs.
Yeah. But even then, the fucking the GameCube discs are also famously not that good. So it might just be fucking Mario fucking with us. I don't know. He might be doing some stupid shit behind the scenes. But point is, I play Pokemon and it looked good.
It looks good.
It looked good.
Do you have a link cable?
I do. I'm trading my shit, dude. I'm trading up. I'm gonna have the full Pokédex, dude. First guy.
Oh yeah, if you go to like local game shops, they usually sell like new versions of old tech like that.
Yeah.
So you can buy like a new GBA converter for $10 or 15.
Support local business.
Support local. Just because GameStop's local does not mean you should support it.
No.
There's other places you can support. They give you a better deal.
GameStop sold me a piece of shit. I bought a Pokemon
Like a literal piece of shit. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah. I bought Pokemon Red from them, and it didn't work, right?
Yeah.
So I opened it up, and the fucking battery had exploded.
What? They didn't even test it?
Not on me. No, they said they tested it, but I plugged it in once, and it didn't pop. It didn't do anything. And I opened it up, and then it was eroded as shit. I have the pictures. I'll show them up here. They was eroded as shit, and it had to have been there for a while. And they're just like, we can give you store credit. What the fuck am I gonna buy?
Oh my god!
What am I gonna buy? Like fucking Mario Kart for DS? If you had that, I would. But they didn't. They didn't have it. But you know who did? Local game stores. Fucking go there, boys. Go there. Fuck GameStop.
Yeah, I guess if you're buying any very old game cartridges you can't trust, iFixit sells like all types of screwdrivers shits. Is that what you'd use to open it?
Yeah, you have to pop open the back. Oh wait, for that one too, here's the caveat. Whoever sold it to them probably knew it broke because there was no screw on it. It was just fucking clicked together. So they had clearly opened it, saw it was fucked up, sold it to them. GameStop fucking jerked off, put it in the box, sold it for 50 fucking bucks, and then I got boned.
So this means, I won't recommend doing this, buy a bunch of fake cartridges with fake PCBs for like 5 cents each, sell them to GameStop, make a profit, and leave. This is all a joke, though. This is a joke.
This is a humor. This is in Minecraft.
This is a humorous thing. This is something the Joker would do, and you wouldn't do something the Joker would do.
All right. Well, that being said, guys, this has been the Bad Take Delete show, not the podcast. Please tell
your
grandma about that. She might not be watching this right now. Might be a bit past her bedtime.
Yeah, she doesn't like podcasts. She likes shows like Jimmy Kimmel.
Make sure she's not driving today. Have a good one, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.